sure that, given that you didn't start the season, that perhaps you've had this one tomorrow circled on your calendar. What is that kind of like for someone, and what's sort of going through your head as you spent your whole career there and now you're going to face it?
Yeah, definitely adds a little motivation for sure. Obviously never done it before, so I think the first period might be a little weird. I got a lot of good friends on that team. But at the end of the day, it's, we need a win, and they're a good team, and they're in our division, and we need the 2 points. So, I could talk to them after.
You've been on that team for a long time, and obviously there's some personnel that's changed, but what makes them who they are that is so good and hard to compete against?
Everyone's bought in on that team. Roddy's a heck of a coach. Ton of respect for him, obviously. A good friend, and so everyone's bought in. Not many egos on that team. They play the same way. They play really hard every night, so we know what to expect. We bring our game. It's going to be a fun game, and looking forward to it.
How important was it for you to just sort of get yesterday off? That would be 3 days in a row, almost off the ice, and how are you feeling?
Yeah, feel good. Anytime this is kind of an odd thing where you get 4 days off, so if you need a little extra rest, I think it's good to take it, and games matter most, so.
Have you paid attention to what Marty Natras is doing this season?
Yeah, I know he's.
Surprise you?
No, he's a great player. He's got all the talent in the world. I'm going to have to tell him to relax tomorrow, but I'm happy for him and his success.
What makes him explosive? Like what is it about his game that allows him to be this type of player and now add this type of production with it?
His speed, so fast, so creative with the puck as well. There's things he does that I probably couldn't even do it in my dreams. So just so talented, and he's still young, right? It takes some guys time to figure out how to play within the NHL, and he seems like he's doing it now, and just really happy for him.
I mean, could you see it coming as a
teammate
of his?
Of course. Yeah. You kind of saw bursts of it throughout the years. Everyone knew he was going to be this good, so it's no surprise he's having this much success right now.
Timo, just an update. How are you feeling so far right now?
Good, feel good. Got a nice practice in today. Just some maintenance, but feeling good today, so ready to go for tomorrow.
It was a very busy stretch of games. What are you seeing out of the identity that's forming with this team through the first 21 games of the season?
Yeah, I think especially the last 10 games, I think we took a step, and then that Florida trip, obviously you want that Tampa game. There's some things we can change about that. Obviously every time you get shut out, it doesn't feel great and you lose. But I think we're playing a fast game. We're defending the right way. Now it's just about consistency, doing it every day, improving, having great practices, because you don't get a lot of them, especially in the stretches we had. So use every time you have to work on your game, and it's important too. Like, we're watching a lot of video, trying to get those details right. So we're doing it every night. The consistency is just going to be really important.
Looking forward to Carolina tomorrow. What are some of the things you all are mindful of when it comes to what threats they bring?
Yeah, it's going to be a great game. Going to be a good challenge for us, because they're one of the best teams in the league. They play a super fast game. They work hard. Every battle, every puck, you got to earn your puck out there. You got to earn your space. So got to be really aware. The details are going to matter tomorrow, but we're up for the challenge. I think this is where we can take another step. Really give it to teams that are the good teams.
Shane, entering another season up here right now, what's the biggest thing that you want to show to the Devils while you're up here on this recall?
I think for me, just that I can play at this level, and that I can help the team. Try and use my speed, and that's my best asset. So just trying to bring that to the lineup and show that I can play at this level and I can stick around.
What are you seeing from the team being able to use the confidence and unleash the pace that they've been able to do to start the season?
Yeah, I think obviously they're a fast team. They have been for the last few years, just with the makeup of the lineup. So I think I need to try and add to that, and at the same time be responsible, be reliable, and just try and bring whatever I can to help the team win. Something
that's been a big point of emphasis up here is physicality as well. What do you want to unleash with that side of your game?
Yeah, I think for sure that's something I've been trying to add more of, and obviously it's a big part of the game here. And they've definitely got a little more physical from last year, and I think it's it's a non-negotiable, and try and bring some of that as well.
Being able to take rushes today with Dowling, someone you're a little bit more familiar with, how could that help impact that line if you do play with him and Tatar?
Yeah, I think it definitely helps, knowing your line mates. I've just got to meet Tuna this year, but he makes the game easier with there. He talks a lot, so it makes my job easier. And, playing with Dallas before in Utica definitely helps as well.
Marty Necas for the Hurricanes is obviously on a tear right now. He's playing really well. I'm curious, that team, when you pre-scout them, when you think about them, how much is he now coming to the foray of what you are looking at when you're going to play against them? Because it probably.
Well, I think it's certainly added attention. I've always had a tremendous amount of respect for him as a player. Coached against him in the minors, the time in Charlotte. He was in Charlotte and played them in the playoffs. I think they ended up winning the Calder Cup that year, and he was just a tremendous young player and showed an incredible skill set. So I've always been on high alert coaching against him. Certainly are now, but quite honestly, I think a lot of his success is just coming the fact that I think just they're having so much success this year on the rush, and he's an incredible player coming to the neutral zone and playing with the puck and playing on the rush. So I think some of Carolina's game has changed a little bit in that sense, and it's really suited him in particular.
That's what I was going to ask you, because their rush game, their game-breaking ability with his game, that's changed as you prepare for them as well, I would imagine, right?
Yeah, no doubt. It's just another layer, and there's many things to prepare for when you're playing against Carolina. The first thing is the pace and the competitiveness that's required. But like I said, I think they've added another element to their game, and Nate's just certainly driving it.
Notice you had to stop practice there a bit and talk to the team. What did you think of the overall practice, the effort put forth?
I thought it got better after our discussion, but it wasn't where it needed to be before that. I think it's hard. You can put a finger on a number of things. Whether it's the time off and you kind of lose your edge a little bit when that's the case, but also just having practice. I mean, yesterday and today, those are our third and fourth practices of the month. So in some sense, I think we've maybe forgotten, what we had established in terms of the level of competitiveness and the pace required in our practices that we could bring out to games. But yeah, I felt they needed a reminder, so I gave them that in the end. It got a lot better after that.
Has this team established an identity yet in your eyes?
Well, I think our effort in Florida, South Florida in particular, I think was an indication of what we're capable of and how we want to play and how we can play with anybody when we're at our best like that, and we're playing as a 5-man group in 3 zones and playing with lots of pace and competitiveness and execution. So I think there's signs of that, but are we there consistently? No. And I think elements of today's practice are a good reminder that we've got a long way to go.
Does those 2 games in Florida, in particular against the Panthers, become the bar now? Because we've always talked from the beginning of the season, the bar keeps elevating. Is that the standard that has to be going forward?
Well, that's where we've been aspiring to get to. A, in our own play, and B, being able to compete with the league's best. I think there's lots of great things you can pull out of that. Now, listen, we're in South Florida. We're playing against the Stanley Cup champs. And, Florida, they're playing against a team that didn't make the playoffs last year. So, there's 2 different elements at play there, right? We're on high alert and they have our attention. Maybe we caught them a little bit by surprise. So we've got a ways to go in terms of earning that level of respect from opponents, but certainly those types of games can give you a step towards that. And shows what we're capable of, but again, we're not close to where we need to be as a team in terms of having something that's sustainable and consistent.
When we talk about that, where you need to be, 21 games in, is this where you kind of thought you would be? Did you think you'd be ahead? Like, where do you sort of...
I mean, I think we're in a pretty good place. I think we just did a little bit of a segment review coming through the 20 games and kind of separating the first 10 and the second 10. We were far better in almost every facet of the game in the last 10 than we were in the first 10. So that's what I like to see. We're making progress. We want to continue to get better, and certainly the last 10 games I think are reflective of being an elite team. But it's an 82-game schedule, first of all, so we want to be able to build on that and have it be sustainable. Where each segment, that's kind of what it looks like, and then we have something that we can build off and take off from there, and seek to earn ourselves a spot in the playoffs, and then take on that beast.
We talked about players yesterday who are maybe dealing with some things. To see Brett and Timo out, sort of what is the status there right now with them?
I haven't gotten a report on their status coming out of the practice, but it was encouraging going in. So the fact they got through it, I think, is a good and healthy sign. But in both cases, you likely won't know for certain until you see how they wake up tomorrow and how their body is feeling after today's practice.
Aside from the obvious wins and points, what are the things in that second 10 that you looked at and said we were significantly better? Where were the areas that
I thought we broke the puck out a lot better, a lot quicker out of our zone. I thought certainly in the last 5 games of that segment, and definitely in Florida, elements of our offensive zone play were improving, and we're spending more time down there. And then in turn, just less time in our own zone with that ozone time, and breaking out more efficiently and quicker. So that would be it. And then obviously special teams and goaltending have been terrific. So, all those things combined, I think, have got us in a really good place as a team. But as I said, certainly not content with that. And there is another level that we have to get to, if we want to compete consistently with the league's best. And, tomorrow will be another test in that regard.
You mentioned a little bit of the uniqueness of what Carolina does with their pace and their pressure. Is there any way to really simulate that in a practice, or is it just about how quickly you can adjust to it during the course of the...
Well, you hope you can simulate it, because as a team, you're trying to do a lot of the same types of things. We want to play with pressure. We want to take away time and space. We want to attack the net quickly. We want to do all of these things that, because of how we're practicing, should prepare us for that. They do it better than anyone, and they have for quite a while, and they're probably on an even higher level this season in terms of what they've done. So in that sense, it's hard to replicate. Over the course of 82 games, you play different opponents that play different ways. You beat them in different times in the schedule with what that team might be going through, whether you get them on an off night or what. So you have to be able to adjust and adapt to the level of the game. Sometimes it's the level of the pace and the competitiveness. Sometimes it's a tactical thing. There are adjustments to be made for sure. But we will do everything that we can to have the guys prepared from a video perspective. We touched on some things today. But then, as I said, your practice is supposed to bring that out, and that's what I'm talking about with some of the things I wasn't pleased with in the early going of practice. It took us too long to get to where we wanted to be today.
Sheldon?